No, I can't be up in here complaining. Gotta let them know I'm famous in my. Listen here, I'm here for the world to hear. And I'ma make sure they know what my name is. I just wanna end up famous in
I'm
there.
so serious, probably why they be so damn curious. They furious. Easy got these ladies on some silly shit. Now what the dilly is, I'm going all out. Hey, I'm the talk of the town while y'all just saw a mouth. Here's a story about my quest to be rich. I'm like Beyonce and Kelly on some Destiny shit. Mr. 6 Mile, look me up, I'm some with a dream. Got my city like an addict, guess it's some with a fiend. For my team, anything less is uncivilized. Surprise, I'm seeing this world through clear eyes. And haters only made me more inspired to bless. On the clock right now, what the hell is the next? Like that feeling in your chest when you're ready to leave. Like that memory you had, you just couldn't believe. And we always got a little ammunition for y'all, cause we remember when they wouldn't even listen at all.
Listen here, I can't go another year. No, I can't be up in here complaining. Gotta let them know I'm famous in my. Listen here, I'm here for the world to hear. And I'ma make sure they know my name is. Just wanna end up famous in there.
In 97 on Gunston and 6 Measy, the streets made a natural born hustler. Believe me, drop real with it. That was my first EP. Grind harder than granted, but made it look easy. Take it to the top, that was the plan. Now I'm known worldwide, from Detroit to Japan. 14 years span, fuck hot nigga, I'm scorching. I done got the fame, now I want the fortune. 6 albums deep, yes, I grind harder. Better known as Eno Brown, the D is my Carter. I've been hood.
And welcome to another great episode of the Jackson Report. This week, y'all may remember Miss Mika. Had to bring her back because she was such a fan favorite. Everybody was commenting how nice she looked, how hot she was. And right before we got on air, I told her, I said, somebody going to be like, how hot you are. And she said, well, my temperature is. So, how are you, Miss Mika?
I'm doing very well, DeWitt. How are you?
I'm doing. I don't quite know how yet, but I'm doing. And then we got Chuck back there. It's always fun when we get
Always
to record
doing well
with Chuck.
back here.
Oh yeah, see Chuck always will, because nobody gets to see Chuck make mistakes like they get to see me messing up. When I mess up, if I do mess up. But I had to bring Miss Meek on today because I want to have an interesting conversation that I knew she would be the only person I could talk to on this level about this particular subject, because here lately I've been sitting back and it's really been stirring in my spirit just how we've strayed so far away from God that it's almost like the mere mention of his name, or you get to talking about it, you get people frowning, or you get people like, that's something I don't do. I just don't do it. When there was a time where that was all we did. Like, that was the thing that made your days better. Like, now it's like, oh, I want my day to go better. Let me look at TikTok, or let me look at Instagram. Let me look through my snaps and see who put something funny on there. And it's like, pick up a book, read a good word. Like, so, and then it's ironic because this show was inspired by Miss Mika, honestly, because I read what you posted on Instagram, and it stuck out to me, and it made me rearrange everything that I was gonna do today on this show, because I felt like it was a need for us to discuss this, like how people nowadays, it's like so many stereotypes. Like, we talk about all of the stereotypes of how guys stereotype females, or how females stereotype guys, but it stood out to me that nowadays it seems like being a believer gets you stereotyped. Like, it's almost like the fact that people know I'm a very spiritual guy, but people may look at me and see me being silly, may hear me use a profanity word, may see me even smoke a blunt, and they already damning me to go to hell. How could you be Mr. Righteous and you're doing all of this stuff? Well, it's a reason why it's called being born again, because you're a baby in God's eyes. And I believe we was just talking outside when I told you, even at 70, in God's eyes, you're still a baby because you don't know any better. Like you really don't. Like it's not like soon as we was pushed out the womb, the doctor spank you, make sure you crying, and then when you cry, hand you this pamphlet like, here's your instructions. This is all you need to know to have a successful life.
Good
It
luck.
it don't happen like that. It don't happen like that. The only instructions that we do get is here's a Bible. There's a man up above that made all of this. Either you're gonna believe or you're not gonna believe. I chose to believe, and it's kind of working for me. It's been working all these years. So
What made you choose to believe? That's a big question. That's basically your testimony. But if you don't mind sharing,
what
or maybe
made me
that could be for another time.
no, what made me choose to believe is I'm glad you did ask that. Like what made me choose to believe is you know how they say you are what you are around. I grew up around so many believers, so many people praying for me, even when I was like kind of too ignorant to do it for myself. Like between my next door neighbor who always had us like in church activities, like in youth camps and workshops, vacation Bible school, like, and me seeing that and seeing how, like, it's an interesting story with me, like about how my mom and my sister left this world. So me kind of always craving that family atmosphere, and it was a woman next door to me, and rest her soul. And I don't know if my sister down there watching this, but her mother was like a mother to us all. Like she always had us in like Youth for Christ or at the church. We was in basketball leagues and all of this. And it was such a family atmosphere that at the time in my life, it was what I needed because it was helping me get over the fact that my mother was not here. And I seen so much camaraderie, so many nice people that it was just like, okay, these people all have something in them. I want it in me too. And the more I started reading and learning and I started getting my spirit filled with the word, it was like, okay, this how it makes me feel. Okay, I know where this feeling comes from now. And I just ran with it. I literally ran with it. Like her kids became like my family too. It's like my whole block became like one big family. And when you on a block and you got like a lot of the elderly, well, a lot of the elderly community was on my block at that time. Like I had like 7 different grandmas on the block, great uncles, all of that. It was like our block was so close knit that it just made me be like, you know what? All of these people constantly telling me they praying for me. I want to know how to pray for myself. And it went from there. I started getting interested. Then I picked it up and I was like, you know what? I want to know what this book about. So I took 2.5 years out my life and read the whole Bible, but I didn't read it like the average book. I wasn't just reading page and flip the page to the next page. I would read a whole book, like the book of Luke, but I had a study Bible. So I was studying that. And don't get it twisted, everybody. When I speak on my spiritual beliefs and I be speaking on different aspects of it, I've read them all. I've read the Quran. I've read the Hebrew Bible. I've read the New World Translation of Holy Scriptures. That's the J Dub Bible. I read them all because of the simple fact I just prepared myself for when people want to debate or want to talk about why my spiritual beliefs are the way they are. Because at the end of the day, to me, and this is just me, the Bible seems unbiased to me. Every other book that I read when it comes to the other religions seems more so one dimensional or biased. And I'm not saying that to offend anybody. This is my belief. You may believe totally different from me, and that's fine. That's what makes us individuals. But when I read all of these other books, it made me feel like, okay, you pushing the agenda. Whereas to me, the Bible is more broadened and it's kind of like come as you are. We're going to accept you as you are. If you want to believe with us, that's cool, but we're not going to force you to believe this way. Every other book that I read is almost like, this is what you're going to do, and you got to do this, and if you don't do this, then it's not going to be that. And that is kind of what strayed me away. And then it's a lot of different things. Like, if I ran it down on why I don't look at other religions like this, I think I might upset people like I upset the people a couple weeks ago because I was talking about the whole crystal thing. Are you familiar with it?
I'm familiar with it. I used to be engaged in it.
And see, I just couldn't wrap my fingers around it because all of these people that I once knew saying, amen, God is good, are now saying ashe and all of this stuff with the crystals. And it's like, is that really what y'all believe, or did y'all jump on some sort of bandwagon because that's the
got
new
bored.
craze sweeping across social media that everybody is talking about crystals? It's crazy because when I titled the show "Let's Get Back to God," it's almost like social media is God nowadays, and it's tripped out because people don't even watch news no more. They get everything off Facebook. And it's almost like if it's on Facebook, that's the truth. And it's like, did you research it first? Like,
No,
do we
that's too much
know?
work. Research?
Oh yeah. Like
Who researches?
do you know like what started your spiritual walk?
Oh, that's a big question. I always kind of knew God since I was young, but started about a few years ago where I really wanted to know and make Jesus like my treasure, not just know that he died for my sins and I can live however I want, but I really wanted to get to know him and you know just know his heart. And I'm still going through that walk of just like knowing the heart of God.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that it has given me so much joy to just know that I'm loved and never alone, and that no matter what I do in this world, that it's not counted against me because Jesus was that propitiation for me. Like I see it this way, like in a physical sense, like Jesus was hung on the cross, and say that my hand right here is him.
Mm-hmm.
He took down my sin and your sin with him. And now we get to have to stand on this solid foundation that is the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And sin is all under Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and it can't get through him because he blocks it all. He is light. No darkness can get past the light. And if you accept him, you are in the light.
Exactly.
So knowing that, I never want to take that for granted. I never want to take advantage of God's love for me, like endless love for me. And I want to know more of him. I want to seek more of him and just love people the way that he loves people.
And that's like a testament to like everybody that's really believers, I believe, walk in that light like that. But then you have you got the ones that's holier than thou, that feels like they do no wrong and will point out every flaw in you, but be scared to look in their own mirror. So it's like, I say it all the time, and I think I said it even when we first came in and we was joking. I said, "Yeah, I think God know when Jesus, he up, here we go." I mean, he knows what he made when he made us all. So my thing is, people that look at the exterior of a person and try to judge them off of that. It was an old saying when they say God is not above us, he in us, he come out. So the thing of it is I feel like when it comes to like the whole spirituality thing and the beliefs, I feel like you're judged at the end of the day by the intentions within your heart. Because a lot of people that you may look at, and I may even looked at sometimes like, ooh, we look like he thugged out. You never know where his heart is. Because some of the people that I've misjudged in my lifetime, looking at it like, oh yeah, we probably ain't gonna get along, end up being totally different from what I first perceived them as. So it's almost like a matter of perceptions when it comes to how people look at a believer and what a believer is supposed to be like. Like the thing of it is like, there's just like, even dare I say, we could even take it back to the whole Kurt Franklin incident. people look at him and it's like, okay, you're a believer. You preached all this to these people. But then you had the nerve to talk to your son like this. Like, guess what? He's a believer, but he's not God. We're all put here to fall short of the glory. I honestly, my firm belief, my whole lifetime, unbeknownst to everybody, has been none of us know any better. From bishops to the men of God that swear that none of us know any better. And it's almost like where I think all of us go wrong as believers. We look at the pastor and feel like he's supposed to be perfect. He's not supposed to make a mistake. He's not supposed to look at a nice looking woman and actually be a man about it and be like, dang, she's nice looking. For him to do that is almost like, what kind of man of God is he? A normal human being.
I think that a lot of pastors need to kind of rectify that stereotype and, not, they are called to be, shepherds of the flock of their church, but they are also not called to say like, I have no sin, they're
Exactly.
basically the Pope. And I could go on about the Pope, but but I won't. But I think that a lot of pastors really need to tell how flawed they are themselves. Not just preach to the congregation; they're supposed to do that, but also make it personal and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm a pastor up here. I know the Word of God, and I'm still learning, and I'm still human and sinful."
Exactly. I mean, and it's crazy because I believe I see it when they do that. People condemn him and be like, oh, well, what is he doing being a pastor over this church? And he's doing this and that. And it's like, did you just forget about your Saturday night?
Exactly, and it reminds me of that one passage. I don't know which book it is. It's in the gospel, but these people are going to throw stones at Mary Magdalene, and Jesus steps in front of them and say, whoever is without sin, cast the first stone.
And nobody could throw one.
No one can throw one.
Exactly. Like, and that age-old adage holds true today because you have people that will knock the heck out of each other and totally shame somebody and then go home and live in a glass house themselves. So it's like now when I titled this show, it was like I just been feeling like a real need to discuss this subject. And I kind of juggled with it for weeks because it's like, how uncool is this gonna be? People want me to do the shows with the half strippers swinging off zip lines and hookers running across the desk and all this crazy stuff. And that's exciting to people. But on the flip side of that, that showed me just how bad the world has gotten, and it's getting worse to where it's like everything is glorified. Sex is glorified now. Even dare I say, murder is being glorified. Like it's to the point where if we don't believe it, if you read that last book,
Revelation,
and look at what's going on today, and you really read it to comprehend it and not just read it just because so you can walk away and say, yeah, I read the Bible yesterday. No, when you read it to comprehend it and look at it, it said we won't be able to tell the seasons apart. Look at it. We could wake up, it'd be 90 degrees, start raining, you come back out of work, and it's like, God, dog, the temperature done drop. It's freezing out here. And then 20 minutes later, it's back hot again. So it's like, that's going on. When he said the plagues, look at it. We're in the middle of a big panhandle right now. Like
Panhandle?
Yeah, we in the middle of a pan pizza, Chuck. It's just. I'm so sick of hearing about the pandemic. We got to jazz it up. We're in the middle of Pandora's box. Like it's just.
I like that.
It's just like, and nobody knew where this came from. We could say
from China.
It came from China. It's a Chinese flu.
I just lost you like half your audience.
Yeah, it came from China. Oh, it did. Did they bloop? They cut it off. Like I have Asian fans. We can't piss off the Asian community because
No.
they watch my show. But no, like, we got that going on. We got, when they say parents against their children, children against their parents, you got people mysteriously, all these kids coming up missing. You got grown-ups coming up missing. You got kids coming in their house killing their parents, parents killing their children. If we not looking at it, you know what? A pastor did this to me one time. And it probably was the best advice or best jewel somebody gave me. He stuck his arm out. And he said, from here to here was the Old Testament. From here to here was the New Testament. We living in this time of Revelations. Look how short our time is as compared to theirs. And it made all the sense in the world to me because it is. It's almost like we living in rapid time. Like, it don't even seem like I've been in Austin almost 6 years, but I have. Like, the time flying by. Like, it's literally, you wake up, it's January. Next thing you know, you celebrating the new year all over again. So it's like, time is flying. But luckily for us, our days are like milliseconds to God. Our years are like minutes to God. So who's to say? Who's to say when that hour is going to be upon us where you hear that knock at the door and you open it up and it's like, Jesus, oh my, I was not prepared. Like,
Love that quote of scripture.
yeah, it's like, seriously, like, it's going to be a knock at the door. And with me, the kind of luck I have, I would probably be doing God knows what. He'd probably come to my house and catch me taking shots and sitting back watching 911, probably smoking a bad one. Like, I'm sorry, God. Like, and the only consolence I can have is like, you had the burning bush in the Bible. I'm just burning. See, people will probably condemn me for making that joke, but God know what He made when He made me. Like, I'm gonna always be who I'ma be. But at the end of the day, I wanted to do this show today because I need the people that view my show to understand me a little bit more. Understand that when I do speak on certain things, it comes from a place. It doesn't come from my own judgment. I pray about everything. I pray, I research, I pray some more. And then I always pray for God to give me understanding. And most of the time He does. The only thing He won't give me understanding on, and I've been praying on this for years, is Lord help me understand women. I tend to think that's His little joke with me, like, no, by the time you understand it, we'll be bringing you home with us. Like, I'll tell you about it when you come home. It pretty much is how I think that's going to go. Like, I don't even think He understands, y'all. I think
You ever seen that meme where it's like God creating a person? He's like, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and then he's like, oh, whoops, and he accidentally spills like way too much of something. It's like with you. It's like you got all these great qualities, and then he accidentally dumped in like too much just
Misunderstanding of women.
yeah. Exactly.
like, oh my God, it's crazy because He did. Like, I think even He sit right sometimes like, and Jesus, you have something to do with this? Like, did you like go ask the Holy Spirit, where did this one come from? Like, like I'm trying to figure it out. Like, you just keep your hands on her, Jesus. Just keep your hands on him over there, because I think y'all was just made for us to not understand. Like, I think that's his little joke with us when Adam turned around like, I'll be lonely, and he was like, okay, all right. I'm gonna give you a part of you that you don't even understand yourself. And like, and that's how Eve came about. Like, and that's just my little personal story. I don't know if it's the truth. Yeah.
No. Thanks for sharing that. No, it's hard to share when you're not sure about something.
See, my thing is, if it comes to me, I'm gonna say it.
Women are complicated. I don't even understand myself sometimes. So you're not alone.
Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of women don't really like understand themselves fully until they get to a certain point in their life.
Yeah.
When they're fully mature. My mother says that she really understood herself when she was 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think that kind of, just thinking about it now, our frontal cortex, all humans, doesn't fully develop until we're 25.
Ah.
So, I don't know.
And Meeks did a whole episode on her podcast about understanding men, so it goes both ways.
Really? Understand?
Totally.
You be trying to understand us?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you how to
Absolutely.
understand us. It's so easy. We're
Food,
simple.
sex, and sleep.
There you.
I got
the
you.
3 necessities of life: food, sex, sleep, and silence. That's that go
Yeah.
silence.
The 4th one, all right.
Silence. That is it.
Underrated.
Like, man, silence is so underrated. All you have to do, we come through the door. You want a good day? We come through the door, hand us a sandwich, kisses, and walk off. That man, I'm guaranteeing you,
Okay.
you'll have a ring before the month is up. You do that at least 2 to 3 times a week, he's gonna be like, first he gonna think she might be trying to kill me. And then, but if it persists, he's gonna be like, I love you. Like, you're perfect. Like, just, you're perfect. I done came in, especially if he come in at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't question him, just kiss him like, miss you, babe, and go lay in the bed. K Jewelers, here we come. I'm trying to tell you.
It's
But
very important that happens right when they walk in the door, because I think I read somewhere a long time ago that when you come home, it's like a very important moment, like right as you enter your door. Because if you're met with some sort of issue, like if you walk in the door and your wife is like, "Honey, the sink is flooded" or something, it's like it's best to just be like, "Oh, hope you had a great day." Let them chill for a sec, and then maybe later bring up something.
When he come through the door getting bombarded, you come through the door and it's like the sink's crowded, the kids is nagging, the dog just got out, this and that. You coming in the door like, oh my God, okay. Then be the man that cheat. And I'm giving y'all, I'm giving y'all the game. I'm giving y'all spiritual
That doesn't make it
food.
right, DeWitt.
I'm finna help some woman somewhere that's sitting at home.
I think it's good advice. I don't think you have to end it with like, and those are the men that cheat.
These
No, for sure,
are
that's
the
good advice.
men that will cheat on you. If you're a nagger, he's probably going to cheat. If you are a withholder, to be politically correct, if you're a withholder, he's probably going to cheat. And any mature woman, you know what I'm talking about being withheld. If you are the type that always wants to order Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and never click and clank them pots and pans, chances are he's going to cheat. And most importantly, although it can be said they consider us to be slobs. Man, you walk in a man's house, if it's a bachelor pad, you expect
Y'all
stuff
think a
from it.
mattress and a TV is all you need in your entire apartment?
Yes, that is a humble abode. A TV and a mattress.
Yeah, women buy those live, laugh, love things on that you hang on the wall. I will
Exactly.
never see that in a guy's house.
No, live, laugh, love. You walk in a guy house and see that, you like, oh yeah, his
A
girl
single
live
guy's
here.
house. Married man, live, laugh, love.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you walk in a single guy's house and you see live, laugh, love, he's like, what chick was you trying to impress? You let her hang stuff up in your house, like,
Or
shit.
he might play for the other team.
Ooh, yeah. Technically speaking. And then most of us have like plastic plates and stuff in our crib. We don't buy the traditional
Okay, but what's that?
That's where I disagree. I'm
cutlery.
definitely never gonna buy plastic plates.
You
in my
want
life.
why not?
Ever?
Just a little too bougie for that, I guess.
Oh yeah, see Chuck is he in the hills. Chuck got golden fine china cabinets. You know, he got
Fine china cabinet.
there's that China word again. He do. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Like my apartment, you think a woman stayed there, and she don't. Not at all.
Wow,
Not
it
at
sounds
all.
like you take care of yourself.
Yeah. See, you have to, like, you put yourself in position, like, you know what the females want, like silk pillows so they won't mess their hair all up. They lay down, keep some nice little fragrances in the bathroom just in case. Like, oh, you need to shower. You got women stuff here. Look, I'm a single dude. I'm prepared. I'm prepared. Like,
It's good. That's a good thing.
got apricot lotion just in case, because now girly cute stuff. I got it for free though. Like, I went to Bath and Body Works and somebody messed up their order and it all ended up coming to me. So it was cool. Just like put off to the side just in case, you know.
Hey, Leon Lucas says, "Hey, cuz."
What up, cuz? Tell him what's good. You see me and Miss Mika on here. She was trying to understand us as men. I'm trying to understand females. And we talking about spirituality. And another thing I wanted to discuss with you too, Miss Mika, because you got a good mind about things like this. Like the whole ban on the public camping sites, especially because Austin is like a tourist attraction now. Like, and it's opening back up because this past weekend I was doing Lyft, and this was like the first time in months that I actually picked up some people that was here, like just on vacation. And I'm like, y'all came into town. They was like, oh yeah, we've been dying to come visit Austin, and now they're here. And I don't even know what they came down here for. I don't even think it was an event. They just came down here 6th Streeting it up. But the first thing they talked about was Austin's cool, as clubs everywhere, but geez, you guys got a homeless problem. And I was like, yeah. And he like, especially, I guess they was somewhere on 6th Street and they went to the food trucks or something on 7th Street. And he was like, is that like the homeless shelter over there? And I'm like, yeah, the Arch, I guess that's where they all be at. And he was talking about it. So when I seen the thing in the news today about possibly Tuesday, they gonna put the ban back in place where you can't be camping on everywhere. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I'm gonna vote in favor of it just because I've seen the way that the homeless population has increased here in Austin for the past, I think, 2, 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's good for anyone, honestly. You know, you're having people who don't have homes just camping wherever they want, camping in front of businesses. You know, those businesses end up having to be shut down because people don't want to go by them because there's urine or feces on the front porch. So I really disagree with what Adler did a few years ago with implementing this, you know, you can camp wherever you want, because, you know, it's a Band-Aid on top of something that can be really good. Like Adler could have implemented some kind of program for the
Right.
homeless instead of just saying like, okay, you can go wherever you want. Here's some tents. Good luck.
Right. I think that was more so of a like a, I don't want to be bothered with this. Give them tents. Let them just do whatever they want
Yeah,
to.
that's what it
but
feels
don't
like.
give them any help though. Like,
And I don't mean to say that in such like a crude or crass way. It just kind of seems like that's what his intention was the way that you described it. Just like, I don't want to deal with this. Let's just do whatever we got to do without having to do any actual work.
yeah. And then even with the whole thing of them getting 2 buildings and housing the homeless, it's like now it's an overpopulation of homeless people. It's almost like you would think they was getting shipped in from somewhere else, like the way it grew. Because I mean, when I got here, it was not as bad. I wasn't seeing all of these campsites. I wasn't seeing none of this. It just seemed like after my first year here, they just started springing up everywhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened? Like, even in my hometown, when you go back, every city got homeless people in it.
Yeah.
But I don't see them out like I do here. I wasn't seeing camp. Now in Colorado, I will admit, in Colorado, I guess they got the same law because it was campsites. I mean, we was
Yeah.
downtown. I was camping. I was looking at campsites, and I'm like, dang, okay, they doing that here too. I think in the cities that's kind of got a good economy, and they doing these. All right, pitch a tent somewhere. Everybody is flocking to him. I don't think too many people would flock to Colorado because of the winter season there. But hell, if somebody told me I could put a tent, I ain't got nowhere to live, but you could put a tent anywhere and the temperature is okay. It's no inclement weather really. Where do you think I'm gonna come? I will be right here in Austin like everybody else is. Like, it was a rumor going around, and I'm not too sure if it's true. So don't quote me on this, everybody. But I do believe that people was actually, somebody had told me they was actually greyhounding homeless people in, like just giving them one-way tickets to Austin. Like,
I heard that too.
yeah, like, here, get on this bus, go to Austin. You'll be okay there. Here, actually buying them tents and sending them to Austin. Like, that's tripped out for a city that I guess started off, it was supposed to be a small town. Because at least the way the infrastructure is, you could tell it wasn't prepared for the influx of people that it got over this past 4 to 5 years.
No, we weren't prepared for this. And I'm just speaking from like a civil engineering perspective. I learned in school, but yeah, it's exactly what you're speaking to. The city did not know or expect this amount of influx in the city. You know, over 159 people a day are moving to Austin. So you can't prepare for that. The roads are kind of bad here too, so they have to compensate for that. And then the traffic's bad. I-35 is actually the second most congested highway in all of Texas.
Really? What's the first one? I-10.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
How'd you know?
I was about to say it got to be I-10 because when I go to Houston,
Brad Gray is calling in on Skype. Brad, just call in to the number on the screen. Don't call in through Skype. Call in to the phone number.
Yeah, call in to my number, homeboy.
Ooh, we're gonna get a caller.
Yeah. He wants to talk to Miss Mika.
He wants to talk to Mr. Jackson.
No, I think he wants to talk to you, Mika. Nobody ever really calls me. You know, they don't call me and Chuck. I'd be like, it's me and Chuck.
No, they're calling for Charlie for sure.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm by far the most interesting person on this podcast.
He's Chuck is the man. Like, when we finally unleash him to y'all ladies, and
it's over for y'all.
It's over.
Yeah. For the 52nd episode.
the segment.
Now look.
Oh, he can't call U.S. numbers.
Oh, dang,
Oh,
Brad.
where's he from?
Why you can't
He's
call
in
U.S.
Thailand.
numbers?
Ooh.
Ask him, can he receive calls? Tell him to call me through. No, he
Here,
can't
look,
call through
I
Facebook.
think I can make this work. Disconnect your phone from the thing, and I'll connect, and then we'll get Brad through Skype audio, which is like the same thing as a phone call, if I'm pretty sure.
That's dope.
I don't think I'll be able to hear him.
I'll give you my headphones.
Okay.
All right, I just turned on off.
One moment, Brad.
One moment, B-Dog. But yeah, when you finally have your segment of Quan and Chuck being Charlie, Quan being DeWitt.
Yeah, we doing it. Me and Chuck, it's going down. It's going to be Quan, Chuck, and Meek. That's how we go.
I like that.
We go. Actually, me and you need to hook up and do a song.
Okay, I'm giving Brad a call.
I'm down.
Brad, you're live on the Jackson Report.
Is this me?
It's you. What's going on, sir?
Are we on the line? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
How are you all doing? Hello to the lovely lady. I see you all doing your thing. Good show you're having today.
Yeah, I really like with Meek. Mika is so intelligent. Like, she is such an intelligent person that our first two conversations, it was like, okay, today I woke up and I got to thinking about a lot of different stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather have somebody with an intellectual brain on my show today. So I had to have Meek on there. Plus, she's not bad to look at. So
Thank you, Joel.
it helps. I try.
No, thank you for the double compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. You would definitely want to platform as many of the brighter people as possible. The idiots already have a loud enough voice in our society.
That is so true.
Yeah. See,
But I had a question for both of you all.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you prepared to take a little live fire on the opening?
I'm always prepared for fires, so
Yeah.
fire away, sir.
Okay, so how do you square even the kindest interpretation of the Christian Bible with its usage throughout history? Whether we're talking about the Crusades or Leopold in the Congo or the Holocaust and chattel slavery. I mean, we could make arguments for Christianity helping people or any religion helping people on an interpersonal basis. But if we want to make a societal critique, we could just as easily make an argument that religion has been one of the main weapons wielded against people throughout human history.
And that's true.
Yes, that's absolutely true. And I would counter and say that the entire story of the Bible is about flawed people having to atone for their sins, atoning and making sacrifices to God. There are still flawed people, always going to be flawed people in this world who will use Christianity, who will use the Bible, who will use other faiths to, push an agenda. And that is not the nature of what Christianity is, at least for your specific example. So with the Crusades, with Leopold in the Congo, there were these flawed men who were so adamant, or not adamant, but, really intense with what they believed in. And they believed that they had to push that on everyone in a forceful way when that's not what God calls us to do. We're supposed to speak truth in love. We're supposed to love our neighbors as ourselves. That's the second biggest commandment. And by forcing our beliefs down others when they did not want that, that is not loving your neighbor. God says, whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. But if they don't, then move on.
Exactly. And how do we? I guess it's hard to frame this question, but how do we pull, I guess, the rank and file Christian away from just the way it's used in broader society and get people to focus, I guess, more on the actual spiritual teaching and not to allow themselves to be guided in society? Because one thing that we do in America that is almost looked at as foolish outside of the country is we allow a lot of intersection between religion and politics. Mm-hmm. In other countries, when you evoke religion while making a political point, that's kind of the point where people stop taking you seriously. I want to know whether you all think that would be a direction we need to move in back home, because it's we're in an interesting place and time.
We definitely are. DeWitt, do you want to take this one?
I think that is a major problem because of the simple fact that it's almost like I've been saying it for the longest, like we pushing more and more away from God than ever nowadays. So I feel like the American way with the whole thing, how else could you know how to lead a country if you didn't have God in you?
Right. Our country is founded on Judeo-Christian values.
What we're comparing it to, though.
Huh?
When we're talking about being further away from God at this point, what are we comparing it to?
What are we comparing it to?
What things are we talking about in our society? Because it seems like a lot of these things have existed And now we just have the internet so people can see more of the world.
Here's what, yeah, see more of the world. I think that my personal opinion is that a lot of people, a lot of men are indulging and watching too much or pornography. And I think that that is
Exactly.
pervasive in our culture right now. You know, the US is the number one consumer of pornography, and we have a really, really bad problem with sex trafficking. And
I was
so,
about to say that too.
yeah, so we have these issues here. And the more that
Is that
we're,
a function of our population? Because I'm not sure. It feels like we're not that much hornier than everyone else.
I mean,
Yes, we
think about
are.
this pandemic. I bet you, I don't know the numbers, but I can guarantee you that just in the past year, Pornhub has doubled in their views.
Exactly. And you think about it, heck, all of those people that subscribe to OnlyFans, that's porn too. So I mean,
We're looking to things of this world like sex, like drugs, like alcohol, like all these other things when we can be looking towards, you know, abstaining from certain things. And this is just coming from my Christian perspective. I think that it's good to abstain from, you know, porn, abstain from sex until marriage, because I think that that's sacred. I think that it's important to, you know, like I said again, love your neighbor as yourself. You know, value those things. We're valuing different things that really don't mean anything at the end of the day. You know, we're valuing like, you know, body positivity, and at the end of the day, it does not matter. It doesn't matter if someone thinks that you're hot or not.
exactly.
You know, it's very superficial. You know, like what's in your heart, what's in your mind, that's the stuff that matters. How you treat other people, that's what matters. And I think that we're straying away from that. And it goes back to what DeWitt was saying earlier with social media, is that we're kind of seeing social media as our God now. You know, we have to put on this perfect front of like, oh, I did this in my life, and look how happy I look, and look how beautiful my body looks, and look at all these women that are around me. You know, we're idolizing all kinds of different things that are just pleasing to the eye, but really, I think that we're kind of crushing our own souls.
Exactly. Like think about it. Think about it, bro. I was talking about it. When, at least in my lifetime, with a shoe like this whole that Nas X, that Satan shoe, it would have got banned before it even started hitting the airwaves. Now it got put out and it was like acceptable. When you think
Why? What would be the benefit of banning something like that?
what would be the benefit of banning something like that? If
Yeah, what would be the benefit?
the benefits of it all is look at what it's promoting, bro.
Yeah, Satan promotes loving yourself. Satan promotes loving, you know,
Materials and
material
everything else.
things.
It's the direct opposite of every teaching that's been taught about the word of God.
It
Everything.
romanticizes murder. It romanticizes everything bad in this world. The benefit of banning that is that no one would ever have to see the promotion of loving murder or loving, you know, loving, having an affair with your wife. You know, that's something that a lot of people struggle with too. Is just like infidelity. You know, and that's something that Satan promotes. So by promoting this shoe, and for kids primarily seeing it, they're saying to these kids, it's okay to be bad, essentially. Like
Exactly.
not even just be bad. I'm understating that, but that's what the benefit of not promoting this shoe would be. And that's a whole other subject.
See, now there's where we get into part of the semantics, but also a part of the actual function. It's one thing to not promote something or to not partake in it, but when we ban something, we're making a societal decision, and that decision has to come from some sort of hall of power, whether it's corporate or governmental. And I'm not sure that's the type of step we want to make over what essentially seem like troll shoes.
See,
Those, you know who those shoes upset most is evangelical Christians.
Woo! Right here.
And
right on, because of the simple
and
fact
I mean, And I mean, you can see the intersection between evangelical Christians uh, and Republicans, and there was a little bit of political trolling going on there.
Totally.
But I'm not sure we want to ban things, because that's how we
Yeah, that's where it kind of
religion
becomes
banning things hasn't typically gone well.
No, it hasn't. And I'm not suggesting at all that the shoe should be banned, but I was just more trying to answer your question what the benefit would be. I don't agree that it should be banned because, the libertarian in me is like, you can do whatever you want, it's a free market. I can vehemently disagree with it, but
Yeah.
We live in a free country. You can sell whatever product you want to sell.
See, and that my thing was, we probably shouldn't ban it, but what stuck out to me about the whole shoe was the fact of how easily acceptable it was, because it was all down my Facebook timeline. And I'm like, back in the day, it was a time where something like this would have been kept so hush-hush and under the rug before you even heard about it. You're like, what kind of shoes you got on? And it's like, oh, you didn't know this, that, this, and that. But the fact that it was all over social media, he made a video, all of this, and it's like, all of these newfound agendas that's just getting thrown in people's faces is why I'm saying we need to get back to God. Because it's like nowadays, everything is glorified but that. I remember it was a time on TV, every other commercial, it was something about a church. It was something about saving the kids, something godly, something about the gospel. Now, it's so few far in between that it makes me think about it like somebody had to know something when they was writing this book, because everything that they wrote in that last book is happening. So somebody somewhere has some foresight.
You know what? I just thought about it. There's a chance that part of it might be, in some ways, Christianity eating itself. Think about the difference between when we were kids and now. It's been 30 plus years since we were seeing all those things on TV. And a lot of things about the world have changed. You had the Catholic sex scandals. Yeah. You have had all sorts of things push people away from the church. The church has worse PR now than it ever had. So,
because you think
I'm not sure those things don't square with the changes that we've seen in the overall church over the last 30 years.
You want to know?
Prosperity gospel preachers.
Yeah, the prosperity gospel. That's what immediately came to mind when you brought that up. Was like, people have this false idea about what Christianity is, and they think of the mega churches and Joel Osteen and all of these other figures like him, when they don't really preach the gospel. They preach the prosperity gospel, like what you were speaking to.
Exactly. And see, my thing is just like this. We getting in a time where everybody is starting to stray away from Christianity. It's starting to be unbelievable. But if you think about that last book, what did he say? In the last days, people won't even believe in me. They're going to start worshiping everything but me. And it's only going to be one true religion. You'll have all these falsehoods, all these false prophets, and all of these false teachers. What do we see happening? The plagues, all of the different things.
If we're looking at that, arguably, I guess, allegory or tale, if we're taking it literally, I would say we've already figured out what that religion is. It's money.
Yep.
Exactly.
But shoot, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of y'all ear. I know you got a show to do.
Yes,
you all
we do.
Hold it down. Great to see you all doing your thing.
Hey,
I'm gonna sit back and peep you all out for a little while longer.
You at work
here in Asia, because yes, the Asian audience is paying attention.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. And see, I said that because they tried to get me to say, well, the flu came from China. It's the
When I said that, I was not speaking to the Chinese people at all. I hope
I was
that-
having fun. It was all in good fun. So, to all my Asian
All right,
fans,
man.
we have a
We
sense of humor here.
we know y'all doing the best you can. Y'all be blessed.
Thank
You
you for
be
your
blessed
grace.
too.
You too, sir.
Hold it down.
Oh, for sure. And that was Mr. Bradford Gray on the Jackson Report. Everybody should thank Chuck because Chuck had the quick thoughts on his feet. He had us disconnecting phones and doing everything else. And Miss Mika,
Thank you.
I always, I always
Jeremy.
like, I always have an "Am I with it" section of my show because of my cousin Kayon. My cousin Kayon was like, "You should think of something or have something that happened." And so far, like this week for me, it was so uninteresting. It really was. Like the week was like very, very uninteresting. I think the most
It's
interesting.
only Tuesday.
Last week was very uninteresting. I think.
Over here, our weeks start on Tuesday and end on Monday.
Exactly.
okay.
See. So it's like last week was so horrible, right? It was god awful. It was just like it was awful. I didn't have nothing exciting happen. Maybe if me and Chuck went to the strip club like we were supposed to, it would have been some excitement. But I didn't have nothing.
Charlie's looking over. He's like, oh.
I didn't have nothing exciting happen other than like when I was doing Lyft this weekend. I say that because of what we was talking about in the show. This threw me for a whirl, but when I rolled off from the guy, I say, "Okay, God, if you talking, I'm listening." A guy, I picked him up. He was sitting on the curb, and when I picked him up, when the people get in my car, I always like, "Hey, had a good night," and he was like, "Man, this the worst night," and just was talking about. I guess he had just had a real messed up experience on Rainy and 6th Street. So I get him in my car and we riding and I'm taking him. Where the heck was this dude going? He was going like, as a matter of fact, he went like up in a nice neighborhood. So I'm like, okay, he must be staying with his parents or whatever. But he was just having a tough go. And I didn't even know what was wrong, but something just came over me and I said, dude, I don't know what's going on or what your situation is, but all things come and go. This too shall pass. And I was like, I don't know exactly what the situation is, but it's about to get better. And it was like an awkward silence in the car. And I pull up to his house and he say, I don't want you to get alarmed. I don't want to seem weird, but please, could you pray with me? And that threw me for a whirl because people done asked us some strange requests in my Lyft rides, but for somebody to ask me to pray with him, and I said, sure. And he just touched my shoulder and he said this prayer, and he was like thanking God for me, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just a person. Like I'm just a person like you are. I just maybe you needed a good word. There it was. And it stuck out to me like, dang, I really want to run back into the dude because I want to know, like, did his situation work itself out? Did it get better? But my am I with it part to my show today, this whole homeless man, am I with it? I don't want to sound messed up because at any given time, everything you work for can get taken away from you and it could be out of your control. So, am I with it? Nah, I'm not because of the simple fact of if Austin is a tourist attraction and it's all this, the economy's supposed to be so good, it's a better solution than to just say, pitch a tent. We don't care. I don't care where it is. It ain't in front of my damn house. Pitch a tent. Like, so nah, I'm not with that at all. I'm not. So I think Tuesday, if I was voting, Yeah, I would vote for the ban. Like, no, clean the city up some. Like, I mean, Austin is growing and it's big, so you could put these people anywhere. Use all these different hotels. Like, it's a Motel 6 by my old house, and it's already be having all kind of interesting things going on. Put some of them there. Like, I mean, it's different ways to do it other than just give them tents and send them out here. Like, you got programs that come through and just give out tents. Here. Sure, take this tent. And when you look at it, if they trying to attract all these tech companies, think about a tech company coming to tour Austin. They riding around like, what's up with all these campsites? What's this going on? Oh, that's just the homeless community. Right here about all this land you trying to sell me? No. Like, so I think they need to figure out a better solution. And I'm going to let you give the people a jewel for the day. I normally leave off my show. I give everybody a jewel, a message, something to think about. What you want them to think about?
What I would like people to think about is really knowing your heart posture, where it's at in this point of your life, where it's at with other people. You know, is there someone that you're not forgiving for something that they did in your past? Is there something you're not forgiving yourself that you did in the past? It might be so horrible that you can't even tell a soul about it. You can't tell your significant other about it. I just want people to know that you can tell God about it. You can tell the Lord about every single thing that troubles your mind, troubles your heart, and that gives your mind and heart joy. You can tell him everything, and he's there for you. And there's absolutely nothing that can separate us from the love of God. Absolutely nothing in this world, in all creation, in the spiritual world too, especially. God's with you always. And if you just believe that Jesus is Lord and accept him into your heart, that will be true for you too. And your life will be completely changed. I promise you. And yeah, that's what I want to leave the people with.
I felt like we should do an altar call and pass the offering plate around. Like, after that powerful message, basically, I'll piggyback off of what she said and pretty much say the message I would love to leave people with. It's time now, especially with everything that we all been going through for well over a year now. Be more humane towards each other. Pray for each other more. Believe in something. I say it week in and week out. Believe in something that is greater than yourself. And let's stop worshiping things that have yet to be proven unto us. People worshiping everything. Like, I'm not knocking nobody, but let's get back to worshiping something that's been proven time and time again. So the jewel I'm going to leave y'all with. When in doubt, pray and figure it out.
Amen.
And with that, Chuck, I think we about at time, ain't we?
I think we are.
This has been another episode of the Jackson Report with Miss Mika. Got Chuck in behind the scenes. Y'all make it worthwhile every week. And y'all the reason I keep getting up here every week. Stay tuned because it's way more to come in the weeks to come. Thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, say y'all prayers. Pray for us as we'll be praying for y'all. Good night, people. Life's a game, but I figured it out. Sitting on the steps at Granny House. This world is strange, but I picture my route. Sitting on the steps at Granny House. Life's a game, but I figured it out. Sitting on the steps at Granny House. This world is strange, but I picture my route. Sitting on the steps at Granny House.
grew up on the block with all the pimps and the crooks. Nerd with it, kept my pen in the book. Oh, I'ma be off the hook. They saw me write it, but I wouldn't let them look. I'm thinking one day I'ma read from this book. Watch, I'll be leaving them shook. Let's take a look and journey deep in my mind. Mama died trying to hustle, I'm completing the grind. My intervention's divine, it's the reason I shine. I bring relief they've been so eager to find. So unique every line. Granny told me always speak my truths. Got a gift, heat the booth and always leave my proof. Always be my own man, I don't need no group. Told me walk my own path, don't get caught in the loop. Lies, fuck truths, I'm always on a solo mission. Told them all I had a plan, but them hoes ain't listening. Now I'm sitting in position, though the star was deplorable. For moms, I'm a walking